We're here at the UiPath Together Public Sector Summit with Don Horan, Global Government Industry Practice Director for State, Local, and Education. Don, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Let's start by asking, where has automation made a meaningful difference in how the government serves the public these days?
Sure. When you look at the impact that's had on government, it's really impacted the customers and the customer's experience. And what I would like to talk about is more of the emotional things that we feel in government. One being fear. Fear, we have two types of fear, really. We have those that we anticipate. You go to a roller coaster, you anticipate to be afraid. You have those fears that just come upon us. You know, a spider comes down and you don't like spiders. You know, people feel things or feel fear all over our country because of our poor government processes. And it's really, to me, not acceptable. Where government's made changes is where automation's helped make changes in government is by impacting those processes. And I'll give you some examples. One example is when a mother goes in to have a baby and something goes wrong and she doesn't have insurance once that baby's delivered, she feels fear, right? She knows that she's afraid that something's wrong with her baby, it needs medical assistance, but she's also thinking, how am I going to pay for this if I don't have insurance? That's a problem that's been solved with automation. Someone goes in, they don't have insurance, they can apply for Medicaid, and typically it takes days to process that. Well, in some states now, it doesn't take days because they've implemented automation where when that baby is born, there's no gap in coverage. Now, how amazing is that to help remove that for someone? You talk about fear of not knowing where you're going to live because you've run out of money and you can't pay your rent. That's a fear that so many people felt during the pandemic that UiPath was able to fix and alleviate. So people did have money. As we heard from Rajiv Rao today, they were able to process over 1.2 million applications for unemployment insurance using automation, right? Stories like that, to me, that's how we're serving the citizens. That's how automation is helping government. And there's tons of cases like that. We have cases where people are waiting in lines at DMVs for hours that they don't have to wait anymore, right? Those people don't want to wait and waste their life and their time standing there for a license, to update a registration. They don't have to do that. There's people out there who need food assistance, that have to wait. Imagine having to wait and the fear of not knowing if you're going to be able to feed your family because you have to wait for government processes. We're processing SNAP applications in the state of Georgia using automation. Things that took weeks, some things months, we're doing now in seconds.
I appreciate your illustrating the human dimension of automation. Next, let me ask, what do you see driving the growth of automation in government in particular, and how do you see that changing in the year ahead, and why?
Yeah, so what's been really driving the growth of automation is increase in awareness to two things, the citizens' needs and also the employees' needs. And coming out of the pandemic, a lot of us have realized that our employees are overworked, our citizens aren't being served fast enough, and that's really helped create awareness because some people want to tackle that challenge and tackle that problem. But to continue to improve and increase the amount of automation that's being done, we really have to tackle those two things. We need to bring to light all of these issues that people are experiencing when they are waiting in lines at DMV and bring that to the surface and solve those problems with automation. But also, we really need to create awareness with our executive leaders of the suffering that's going on within their own organizations. Their people are suffering. They've been working so hard. COVID was so stressful for all of us. It strained government like government has never been strained before. We lost employees. Now people are doing, instead of one job, they're doing 10 jobs. And they're working long hours, and it doesn't have to be that way. You can immediately upskill those employees by giving them a digital assistant. Give them a digital workforce to help them, something that you can easily train them on. And as we start to teach people and create this awareness about the suffering that our citizens are facing and the suffering of our employees, we'll really increase the amount of automation out there for good.
And then how far along would you say agencies are in training employees to use automation, to do their jobs more efficiently, but also to do more valuable work?
Yeah, we're not too far along. And to me, it's unfortunate, but I ran an organization in the state of New York with 3,400 people. And I really understand what people are feeling. And as I take a step back and put myself into their shoes, where I once was, you have to realize that they're so scared that if they pull that employee away from their job, that they were doing that one job before, remember? Now they're doing 10 jobs. That the stuff's not going to get done. They're pulling them away from work that has to be completed to train them, and they're losing that time. What they're not seeing is the ROI, the benefit of doing that. Because many companies have done that before, where they say, we'll train, but we never saw the payoff. The ROI is insane. We have heard that from our customers here today, that the payoff on this is so great that if you take that employee away and give them the training and upskill them, teach them something new. We never want to do that in government. Our employees we're not teaching them new technologies ever. They just keep doing their daily job. They want to learn. Take them, train them, put them to work building these automations, making their jobs easier, and then take them and use their brain power to solve the bigger problems and the bigger issues that the agencies face. It makes sense.
And then lastly, how do you see automation continuing to evolve from more of a back office function into more mission critical activities in government? And what do you think will help accelerate that?
Yeah, we've really started to see the focus on those mission critical activities really start to pick up in the recent weeks. And what I really feel like will really accelerate that, again, besides the awareness, right? Besides trying to figure out, the pain and suffering that's going on, is through policy and legislative changes, right? We need to take our governors and our county executives and our senior leaders, and we need to be more directive when it comes to automation. We need to have our governors really put in place an executive order and name a chief automation officer, someone whose number one goal is to change the lives of the citizens. If you do that, that person's focus will be to help improve those agencies. It will help your citizens, it will help your employees, and make sure that person's goal is the number of lives changed. To me, that was my goal during the unemployment insurance disaster. How many lives can I change? And today that continues to be my goal. Throughout the world, that's what I look to do. How many lives can I change with this technology? And if we put in place those legislative changes, those policy changes, put in place a chief automation officer to really focus on automation, man, we'll change the world.
Well, Don Horan, thank you so much for sharing some of your insights and some practical examples of the way automation can improve public service. So thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.